Story time on how I found out my best friend was 5 months pregnant with my boyfriend's baby. And not only was she pregnant by my boyfriend, no, she was obsessed with me and tried to replace me. Seats included. Strap in. Forgot to mention, my best friend is 16, my boyfriend is 18, and I am 17. So me and my best friend would have been friends for 2 years. Me and my boyfriend had only been dating for like 3-4 months. I told my best friend everything about my relationship. He knew about every single argument, every single breakup. Eventually it got to the point where we all three would hang out with each other. I was extremely close with my boyfriend and my best friend. They were basically the people closest to me in my life at that time. We all started telling each other everything. But it started to get weird when I noticed that some things I told my best friend, my boyfriend would all of a sudden know about, and some things I only told my boyfriend, my best friend would all of a sudden know about. Which means that they were communicating without me knowing. So, that's suspicious. At one point, we all went to this party together. They all of a sudden just disappear, and I'm looking for them for like half an hour, calling, texting, no response. So I start asking people. This one specific person said, "Oh, I saw them go upstairs. Holding hands. Just the two of them." I was ready to kill. Part two of how I found out my best friend was 5 months pregnant with my boyfriend's baby. Not only did she get pregnant by him, no, she was obsessed with me and tried to replace me. So we're at the party and my boyfriend and my best friend are nowhere to be seen. So I ask around and someone tells me that they saw them go upstairs together. So upstairs I go. I see my boyfriend and he's just talking to some friends. Well, I'm like, we all friends. I want to talk too. Where the fuck were you? Like, oh, I was just up here, chilling with the homies. We're all standing in front of a door, and then I see my best friend walk out of the bathroom that's right across that door. At the time, I didn't really put the pieces together that they just got freaky. But several months after the party, I did start to realize something. My best friend was gaining weight. Everybody else noticed it too. And during these months, my boyfriend also got a new job. We couldn't see each other as much. Like I said, everyone noticed that my best friend was gaining weight. And rumors started to spread that she was pregnant. But no one knew who was the dad. Like I said, me and my best friend told each other everything. So if she was gonna tell anybody who the baby daddy was, it would have been me. But I had no clue. She said she was just gaining weight. She texted me and asked if me, her, and my boyfriend could all meet up somewhere to talk. That talk did not end well. Stay tuned for part 3. Part 3 of how I found out my best friend was 5 months pregnant with my boyfriend's baby. Not only was she pregnant, she was obsessed with me and tried to replace me. Receipts included, child. Okay, so rumors are going around that my best friend is pregnant. She texts me and says she wants me, my boyfriend, and her to all meet up somewhere. The 3 of us have not hung out together in a while, so I was down. So we meet up at her house. Her parents weren't home, we had the house to ourselves, so it was just the best place to meet up. So when I get there, my boyfriend and my best friend are already sitting on the couch. I cannot believe my eyes, child. This girl had a pregnancy test in her hand. I was like, put that shit away. I'm not fucking playing with you right now. Put that shit away. He basically tells me that it's exactly what it looks like. Told me that it happened at the party. By this time, it was April. I'm thinking, child, that's 5 months. They was mute for 5 months. I was dating this man who is 18, about to be 19, and got my just turned 16 best friend pregnant. But she wasn't apologetic. Good sis was laughing. Something was funny, or she planned this shit all along. Which was proven right after I got this text message from her after I blacked out and woke up in jail. Pause to read. There's a lot of curse words, so the rest will be on my Instagram. This is the time I fought my mom because her boyfriend was touching me in my sleep and she defended him. I was 16 when this happened. I'm 20 years old now. He was touching me, she knew about it, and she didn't do anything. Yes, they're still together till this day, and no, I do not talk to either of them. Let's get into it. So my mom had just recently divorced my dad, and so she got a new boyfriend. His name was Daryl. Now let me tell you, I was not rocking with Daryl from jump because he was always a little too touchy. If I sat down next to him, he'd squeeze my knee, would sneak up behind me and rub my shoulders. And when he would hug me, his hands would go a little too far down my back. Whenever he would come over, I'd just stay in my room. But one night, it was like damn near midnight. Mind you, I'm asleep because I don't play about my sleep. I wake up suddenly because I had a feeling somebody was in my room. So I turn on my lamp that's on the side of my bed. When I turn around, I see Daryl in my room with his back turned towards me, trying to sneak out of my room. But not only was he trying to sneak out of my room, he had my panties in his hands. So I look under my covers, and sure enough, my panties are gone. Part 2 gets even worse. This is part 2 of when I fought my mom because her boyfriend was touching me in my sleep and she defended him. So I suddenly woke up in the middle of the night to see him trying to sneak out of my room with my panties in his hands. Instant tears started flooding my eyes because I knew what he had done. And I knew that if I told anyone, no one would believe me. Because like I said, I didn't like him from jump because he was always too touchy. And I told my mom how I felt that way, and she told me that I needed to start wearing less revealing clothes. But back to what I was saying. That motherfucking low-life ass piece of shit notices that I woke up, he runs out of the room, and then I hear him leave through the front door. So I quickly get dressed so I could go tell my mom what happened because I didn't know what else to do. I wake her up and go, "Ma, Daryl just touched me in my sleep." She says, "Girl, stop making up these little fantasies in your head and go back to sleep." And so I told her, no, I woke up in the middle of him trying to leave my room with my panties in his hands, and once he noticed that I saw him, he left through the front door. Then she gets mad at me and starts yelling at me and says, and I quote, "I don't need you running men out my house." That's crazy because my dad was her 5th husband. Daryl was about to be her 6th. If anybody was running men out this house, it was her. tired of her BS at this point. She's yelling all up in my face, and so I shove her. This is where it gets crazy. Part 3 of the time I fought my mom because her boyfriend touched me in my sleep and she defended him. So I woke up my mom to tell her that her boyfriend had just touched me in my sleep. And she gets mad at me and starts yelling and screaming at me. But the amount of shit that she put me through, she had no right. So I'm sick of her BS at this point, and so I shove her. I had never put my hands on my mama before this. My mama deserved to get her ass whooped. How toxic she was. If she wasn't my mama and she was just some other regular bitch, I probably would have already threw hands with her like 10 times. So now we're on the floor of her bedroom scrapping it out. No, I did not show her no mercy. Obviously, I went and whooped her ass because 16 years of being mistreated. Come on, at this point, I had a heart of steel and hands of steel. So she's screaming and she's yelling and she's talking about, I'm gonna call the police on you. I was like, call them. After I tell them what happened, they're gonna be on the look for your boyfriend. He tells me to get my stuff and get out. I said, say less, so I start packing. I texted a close friend who I had already told about Daryl being a creep, and they came to get me. I lived with that friend for 2 years until I turned 18 and moved into my own place. I have an amazing boyfriend who understands my trauma and takes everything slow with me. I no longer have contact with Daryl or my mom, and now I only see them through social media posts. This is the story about the time I got arrested because I was with my friend when she stole from Kroger. So I was at Kroger looking for snacks with my friend, let's call her Kaylee. Kaylee goes and wanders off somewhere and leaves me in the bread aisle. She didn't tell me where she was going, but about 10 minutes later she came back with a pair of lashes in her hands. She tells me she paid for the lashes up front and to put them in my pocket. I didn't know that she was stealing, so I put them in my pocket. One of the workers saw and called the police. When the police arrived, Kaylee grabs the lashes and tries to make a run for it. So I look after her and I yell, "Justice for Brandon Bernard." Why did I yell that, you may ask? Because this story didn't actually happen. But since you're watching, you might as well finish the video. A somewhat similar situation did happen to a black man named Brandon Bernard who was executed last night at 9:27 p.m. for a crime he did not commit. He was pressed with 2 murder charges for only being an accomplice to a murder. He didn't murder anyone, yet he still got charged with murder. Now Trump could have stopped all of this, but he didn't have enough time to save a black man from being executed. He was too busy tweeting. And this is one of the many tweets that he made while he could have been preventing the execution. So is the world really killing itself? Or will y'all not just stop killing black people? Part 2 of the time my mom cheated on my dad with my ex-boyfriend. Receipts included. So like I said, I saw these messages on my mom's phone between her and my ex-boyfriend. Here they are again. I wasn't paying attention to the date, so I thought they were old. Until the next day. So I'm with my friend and I'm in the passenger seat of her car. I open Snapchat and I accidentally click on Snap Maps. And I see something weird. It says my ex is at my house. I'm thinking it has to be a glitch because why the fuck is this man at my house? We're somewhat close to my house, so I asked if we could pass my house real fast just to see if he was actually there. We drive past and we see his car in the driveway. And then we see him get out of his car. I'm trying to see what the fuck is up because after those text messages I saw, I don't trust him. I'm on they ass like back pockets. I tell my friend, park behind this big ass tree, girl. We finna watch. So he walks up to the front door. And before he even knocks, before he even rings the doorbell, my mom opens the door, smiling all big and shit. And she opens her arms and hugs him. So she was expecting his arrival. But that was just a little friendly hug, right? You know, nothing too crazy. And they both proceed. This was a team effort to kiss. I pass out. Part 3 gets crazy. Part 3 of the time my mom cheated on my dad with my ex-boyfriend. Receipts included. After I see on Snap Maps that he's at my house, me and my friend drive past my house to see if he was actually there and his car was in the driveway. My mama opens the door for him before he even knocks. Then me and my friend witnessed them lock lips. At this point my blood is cold. The way I hop out that car faster than you could say home wrecker. So there I am running towards them. Obviously they see me running towards them, eyes wide open, and they start looking at each other. I'm like, hey, don't look at each other, look at me. Look over here. What y'all staring at each other for? So I asked them if I just saw what I just saw. Obviously they try to gaslight me. My friend was there and she saw it, so ain't no fooling me. So I'm screaming at them and I'm going at it. And they're screaming back like they didn't just do what they did. Our neighbor who is a cop hears us arguing and comes outside and tries to defuse the situation. He asks us what's going on, just tell him that everything's fine, and then we go inside. So we go inside and I sit them both down. I'm more curious as to how they even formed this whole entire relationship. So I tell my ex that I won't expose him if he sends me all the messages between him and my mother. Making part 4 right now. Part 4 of the time I found out my mom was cheating on my dad with my ex-boyfriend. So once I caught them, I told my ex-boyfriend that I wouldn't say anything to anyone if he sent me all the messages between him and my mother. There my mom was, still trying to lie about it, still trying to deny it. Like me and my friend did not just see them both trade spit. He ends up agreeing and there my mom is just looking dumb. And she says, if he sends you these messages, you're not allowed to tell your dad. I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. Obviously, I was still gonna tell my dad. All of those messages are posted on my Instagram story. So I did end up telling my dad and he divorced my mom. Not surprised, it was gonna happen anyways. Their relationship was going down the drain. We both move out and then I stay with my dad until I go to college and get my own dorm. I still talk to my mom every now and then because she was never a bad mom. I never understood and will never understand where this whole thing came from. Just that one incident was traumatizing and uncalled for. Our relationship after that was never the same. It was just always awkward. Last thing I heard about my ex was that he moved to states. This is why boys should cut all connections with their ex when they get a new girl. Please make sure to watch all parts of the story because it all comes together in the end. Let's get into it. Junior year of high school, I started dating this boy whose ex was known to be crazy. She was so crazy that when me and him first started dating, she told everyone that he had taken advantage of her and got her pregnant so I could break up with him and no other girl would ever want to date him. Nobody believed her because she was a compulsive liar and she lied about serious things like that all of the time. And it was proven completely false when months later, she had no baby bump. I took it upon myself to start talking shit about her on my Instagram, as I should. But once she found out that I was talking shit about her, she wanted to fight. I don't fight over boys, so I told her to get over herself. Fast forward a week or two, I'm sitting in my living room and I hear the doorbell ring. I go to open it, but my mom's already at the door. She opens the door. Next thing you know, I see my mom get snatched. So I'm thinking, damn, it must be windy as hell outside. So I go to check to see what happened. And when I get outside, I see my mama getting whooped by 3 grown men. My boyfriend's ex was standing there and laughing. Part 2 of why boys should cut all connections with their ex when they get a new girl. So like I said, I see my mama getting whooped by 3 grown men. And there my boyfriend's ex is standing there watching the whole thing and laughing. Once the men see me, they stop and I run to make sure that my mom is okay. And they start cussing, saying this, that, and the third. I'm telling all of them to go to hell. Trying to rush my mom back inside. There was seriously something wrong with her. Her nose was bleeding. She couldn't answer my question. She was pretty fucked up. And my boyfriend's ex starts yelling and says, "This is what you get for getting me a miscarriage." Now this girl was delusional. I did nothing of the sort. Never put a hand on her. This is the first time I would be seeing her in person. I don't even know how she got my address. I don't bother arguing and I get my mom back inside. I hand her a phone and I tell her to call the police. But I also make sure to tell the dispatcher that we're gonna need an ambulance. So then I go to my garage. I grab a bat, walk right back outside that door, and I go sicko mode. And this is when it gets crazy. Part 3 of why boys should cut all contact with their ex when they get a new girl. Like I said, my boyfriend's ex had brought 3 grown men to my house and they all jumped my mother. So I grab a fucking bat and I go outside. Now I'm swinging on everybody. I'm talking bopping the head, bopping the nose, bopping your mouth. I'm not giving them the chance. I don't even care if the police come in. Let them arrest me. I do manage to get all 3 grown men on the ground. With my bat, of course. Then the only people left standing is me and my boyfriend's ex. I'm like a bull, looking at her ready to charge. But now I was ready to molly up that bitch. She starts running, I run right after her. I am on her ass like wet grass. She tries to get in what I'm assuming was her car or one of the grown men's cars. I drag her out that car and I start beating her with my bat. The grown men are off the ground at this point and start running towards me. So then they get close. And I tell y'all, I start swinging that bat. I don't even know who I'm hitting. I did end up accidentally breaking their windshield. And then the police show up. This is part 4 of why boys should cut all contact with their ex when they get a new girl. So I'm beating up those 3 grown men and my boyfriend's ex with my bat. I accidentally break their windshield and I don't feel bad about it. And that's when the police show up. No one was recording the incident, so when the police got there, those 3 grown men and my boyfriend's ex tried to lie and say that they were the ones who got attacked. But little did they know we had cameras all around our house and it recorded the whole incident. I tell the police I was beating them for self-defense and that my mom was inside and she was already injured. Later on, we were able to file assault and trespassing charges. But anyways, I ride with my mom in the ambulance. Then I go to text my boyfriend to tell him what happened. I forgot to mention earlier on, I had told my boyfriend multiple times to completely block his ex on all social medias. But he didn't, so she would constantly like all of his photos, constantly DM him, and he told me that he would just ignore her. And so I don't just text him what had happened. I also make sure to break up with him. Because if he had blocked her on all socials and cut contact with her, then his ex would have never known that we were dating, and my mom wouldn't be completely paralyzed on the right side of her face.